I'm going to be completely unfiltered right now. This is better than the Demko AD20.5. How's it going, everybody? I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And if you appreciate raw, uncut, unfiltered, pure knife opinion, smack the like button, because you, my friend, are in good company. Even if we disagree, you can still appreciate raw opinion. Today we're talking about the Vision R, designed by SNECX and manufactured by Knife Company. And based on its unique locking system, this knife has drawn lots of comparisons to the Superlock and the Demko AD20.5. And rightfully so. But the question is, which one is better? Today, we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to tell you why I think that unequivocally, this one is in fact better. This is the Vision R. Let's go. So I have been waiting to get my hands on this for a very long time. Shout out to Blade Ops for sending this my way so that I could check it out and talk to you about it. And you know, I really wanted to review this one because when it came out, they sold out, and then they dropped again and they sold out again, and so on and so forth. And the pattern continued until I saw on a live stream, based on one of your suggestions, that I should ask Blade Ops if I could check this out because they actually had it in stock. And that's kind of the game you have to play if you want to get your hands on a Vision R. That's what this is the Vision R. It's designed by a designer called SNECX or SNECX. I'm pretty sure it's SNECX. And it's a pretty crazy knife. First and foremost, let's talk about the specs, shall we? The overall length is just shy of 8 inches. You have a 3.5-inch blade, handle scales made out of titanium that have this nice stonewash finish on it that you can see if you look closely. That's pretty cool. It also has a bead blasted 20 CV blade and what they call the Superlock. Now, this is where things really start to go off the rails in a crazy train kind of good way. There's multiple things about this knife that are just different and I really enjoy. First of all, the Superlock, like I mentioned, you might think that it's very similar to a Superlock made by Demko, and it kind of is, but it really isn't. And we'll talk about that. You essentially actuate the lock by doing that. And it is spring-based with this torsion bar here. You also get this crazy pocket clip. So this is a pocket clip design that I've seen before on a few different knives, but it's not common. Instead of having the pocket clip on the flat, the pocket clip is on the spine. And that does affect ergonomics, but in a good way. As I mentioned, it is similar to a Superlock, and for comparisons purposes only, I have this Demko AD20.5. This is my Demko AD20.5 that I've modified. If you want to see a review video on the modified version, which I don't hate, let me know in the comments section down below if there's any interest out there in people wanting to find out about the modifications I did to this knife. We're just going to be comparing the Superlock to the Superlock. So let's start off with the Superlock. Superlock is designed by Andrew Demko, who is a knife lock wizard. Andrew Demko is amazing when it comes to dreaming up different knife locks. He did the Scorpion lock, he did the Triad lock, and a number of other different locks. You can go find out all of his work with Cold Steel so far, and then of course with the Demko AD20.5. The Superlock has been phenomenally impressive and popular. People love this. But essentially with the Superlock, what you have is you have this bar right here. And inside the bar is a spring. So when you compress the shark lock, the blade comes up, and then the inside of the bar has a lip, and it goes into the tang of the blade, and it locks in. The spring keeps it up, and because that bar is there, you cannot shake that blade free. You cannot break that blade free. It's extremely strong. So that's the shark lock. Now, the Superlock also has a bar, also located on the spine of the blade, and also has a spring. Something that's really neat is you can actually see the mechanism a little bit between the bar and the tang of the blade right here, which I think is bananas. And so the bar taps into the tang of the blade, but it's compressed between the tang of the blade and that stop pin. The spring does, in fact, hold it in place, but if we look on the inside here, you'll see that the spring is way down here. The torsion bar is much longer on the Superlock than it is on the shark lock. Essentially, the main difference is that this bar compresses between the blade and the stop pin, whereas on the shark lock, it does not. So they are similar, but they are actually very different. Now, how sturdy is that Superlock? Guys, I have no idea, but I'm telling you, this lockup is absolutely perfect. The lockup on the shark lock, there's a very ever so slightly tiny bit of play. And, here's the thing. It's not a matter of tightening this down. This is as locked up as it's going to get. The pivot is perfectly locked down. I'm doing this comparison to show that they are in fact different, even though they are also similar. Kind of like how a compression lock and a liner lock are similar. So that comparison is totally worth it. Now, the action on here is running on ceramic bearings, and unfortunately, despite the fact that it really should, it does not have a single-sided captive pivot, which I'm kind of bummed about. Is it a big deal? Absolutely not. For the money, I think that this is one hell of a knife. And if I haven't mentioned it so far, this cost $270. I will link to Blade Ops down below, and you can check to see if they're in stock. These go in and out of stock like hotcakes. So if you've been wanting one, I highly suggest that you check it out. And I highly suggest checking out to see if they still have them. If they do, awesome. If they don't, just keep checking back with them. I'm sure that they'll get more of these because these have been stinking popular. They've done a phenomenal job. Now you might wonder, how does this pocket clip fit into things, right? Well, let's talk about it first of all in the ergonomic sense. In the ergonomic sense, it's perfect. It's minimalist. You do not feel this pocket clip at all. Like I don't even know that it's there. It feels like the spine of the handle scales. It's got a little bit of a lip up here, but it's not a big deal at all, and I don't feel it. Speaking more of ergonomics, it does have this finger cutout, and I'm going to call it a finger cutout because your fingers fit perfectly there. There is absolutely no jimping on the spine of the blade, which it's fine. I mean, it's fine, guys. I would have loved to have seen some, at least, a cursory amount up to like maybe there, but it's not there. Does it affect the control of the knife on this one? I don't think so. The spine of this blade is very, very thin. And to give you an idea, I would say that it's about as thin as the blade on a CJRB Pyrite. And I'll hold them next to each other so you can see. In fact, the Pyrite might actually be a little thicker. So the blade geometry is very slicey. You have this modified sheep's foot style blade, which is going to be perfect for getting into boxes. This could be the ultimate box opener / breaker downer thing. It looks futuristic. The holes in the middle remind me of what you get on a Spyder Co smock. While the lock is a little reminiscent of the shark lock, it does feel different. Something that is kind of weird is that if you pull down and out, you can actually take this bar out to a certain extent, like past that point, and then the blade spins free. So if you want to know what the action is like, this action is stupidly smooth. Now, if you have one of these and you do that, are you screwed? Do you have to take it apart? No, you just do this. and it's back in place. No big deal. I would actually say that this lock is easier to take apart than a shark lock, and I think that's worth mentioning. I really enjoy the fact that you can see the mechanism at work when you utilize that lock, and I'll try to get a close-up here. That's just cool. I like that you can see it, even though there's not a ton going on there. That's really cool. It does deploy via either using the Superlock like a button or by flicking out. And it makes this nice snicking sound. It almost sounds like it's saying the designer's name every time you open it. SNECX. It has a mechanical feel to it, which is really, really nice. Now, if you're wondering if the action or if the deployment is the same as it is on a Demko AD20.5, I'm here to tell you that it's not. The 20.5 has a lot more spring tension. Like, check this out. It's a quarter deployed, and it just snaps back in. On this one, quarter deployed, and it's not snapping back in. The release point is a lot further down. So the deployment of this knife feels diametrically different than it does on a shark lock. So before you go in the comment section and say,
"Oh my gosh, I have a Demko AD20.5. It's the same thing. Just, they copied it."
No, they didn't. The actuation is similar, but that's it, guys. Like, the detent feels different. The deployment feels smoother, more refined. I feel like this is what people really, really wanted when the AD20.5 came out, because $270. $270 and you get 20 CV titanium and the Superlock and a very EDC ergonomic friendly knife, which is cool and futuristic. To get something similar to this with the AD20.5, you would have to spend over $300. They're both made overseas. This one in China, this one in Taiwan. I'm not going to get into the politics there, but my point is that this is, in my opinion, the better buy than a more premium AD20.5, because you can get a 20.5 and, S35 VN now and titanium and 3V. I know that they made this big deal out of 3V. With all of that being said, at $270, you're getting a knife that's just as well designed, if not better, new age styling, and all the goodies. Yeah, that's pretty dang cool. Real quick, let's go ahead and compare it against, just for size comparison, to give you guys an idea. Here it is against the Spyderco Manix 2. And length, it's going to be very, very similar in length. The Manix 2 is going to have a wider profile, and the Manix 2 is also going to be, well, actually, no. Okay, they're very similar in carry profile as far as the thickness of those handle scales go. So yeah, it feels refined. It looks refined. This is kind of what I really wanted the Demko AD20.5 to be. And at this price range, it's a steal. No wonder these are selling out. And if you don't like the plain titanium, they do, the blue cracked ice, and they do the black, and, you can get it in a couple different options. This is definitely one that I would highly suggest, especially for people who are fans of the AD20.5. This isn't meant to be an AD20.5 bashing video. But if you are a fan of this mechanism, trust me when I say you've got to try the Wii Vision R. But let me know in the comments section down below. Do you have one? If not, are you planning on getting one? And if not, why not? Let me know. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, I'm sure I will find you in the comments section. And if you want to see more awesome knife content, make sure you hit subscribe. I'm Rollshambo. I'll catch you on the flip side.